Today, 35 children in the United States were diagnosed with diabetes. Over the course of a year, 13,000 kids have their lives permanently scarred by type 1 diabetes. To stay alive, these kids need injections of insulin and a constant battery of finger pricks just to keep the disease manageable, just so they can hope to someday live a normal life. While insulin offers type 1 patients a lifeline, it does not cure the disease, nor does it preempt kidney failure, blindness, nerve damage, amputations, heart attacks, or stroke. Molly Durham and Max Pogriba are among 3 million Americans who have type 1 diabetes. They go to school and tell their parents stories around the dinner table, but they do not live normal lives. Max loves to snowboard and Molly enjoys camping, but they can never get away from their insulin pumps or go to sleepovers. Juvenile diabetes wreaks havoc on these young lives, but their fathers and families live for the day when a cure will change thousands of communities, families, and people, including their children.
I'll start by saying that we've been told by people on many occasions that Max is an old soul. He's a pretty emotional kid, very heady, intelligent, but even keeled.
As a family, Molly and her brothers and my wife like to go camping. In general, Molly likes to do everything about camping and things outside.
I always give my wife a hard time because we have a collection of bags like you wouldn't believe. We have a tote or a bag for everything, and you have to have everything that he might need for any situation.
She, in my opinion, has every right to complain about it. She makes it so easy for us, if it can be easy, because she just doesn't fight us on it.
We have a meter with test strips. We have insulin. We have syringes. We have things to treat low blood sugars, glucose tabs, juice boxes, glucagon pen, which is something to treat severe lows if you can't eat or drink. As with children in general, as a parent, you want your kids to be safe, no matter where they're at. For our other two kids, it's mostly just keeping them in a safe environment. For Molly, you have to worry about whether she's safe, not just in the environment she is, but in terms of managing this disease. As a father, and for me, I feel like my role is to be able to have control over what happens to my kids and family, and to be able to fix things, to give support to the kids and my wife when they need it. One of the most frustrating things for me about this illness was the fact that I didn't have control. When Molly was diagnosed with diabetes, I have to admit I was pretty naive. Shauna's father lived with diabetes for 40 years, and so I was familiar with it. I had been around when he had episodes of low blood sugars. But when Molly was diagnosed, I was convinced, kind of being an engineer, I was convinced that there was a finite number of variables here that I could manage. This is something that we can keep great control over. We ought to be able to handle this, even in a 2-year-old kid. Molly brought home her journal the other day from school. They write every day. And the topic was, what are your 3 wishes? And her 3 wishes were to get her ears pierced, to have 2 little puppies, and to spend 2 months in New York. And her mom and I were just stunned that she wouldn't wish to not have to deal with this. I'm an emergency physician. My wife's a nurse. Diabetes was a common theme in the physiology that I studied, and I have a pretty good understanding of what's actually happening with the immune system and the problem in and of itself. But when I was handed a box of supplies and told to go take care of my son,
I felt like I didn't know anything. And for me, as a dad, in my my ability to be able to take care of my family was taken from me at that time.
It's kind of hard to imagine what it will be like not to be thinking about this and be worrying about this. You know, sometimes when you're married and have kids, it's kind of hard to think back, what were you doing before we had kids? It's hard for us to think back, what was it like before Molly had diabetes?
I hope someday it will be easier for him, but it's not easy. It never is. It's never okay. Our kids look well because they take care of themselves. And for the kids that are too little to take care of themselves, their parents do it, and they're constantly managing it. And these guys look well because somebody's paying attention to that. But to think that their lives are normal or that they get used to it, that never happens.
The funding that JDRF does and the research that they're funding is exactly what needs to be going on. They are trying to find a cure. I mean, I don't know who would be funding this stuff if it weren't for JDRF.
They're already very generous for being here in the first place. But the way for us to solve this problem is going to be through research, which costs money. But I would ask people to understand that their generosity of offering financial assistance for this cure will pay them dividends that I can't even imagine. I do think that everybody who helps now has a potential to see this thing go away. You'll help my son, and you'll help a lot of other people and children, and ultimately stop it altogether. So I would ask to please give, but I would also ask to please understand how important it is and the impact that it will have.